Yo, what's going on guys, Dewobs here and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. Today we have several more leaked heroes, ones you're gonna like, and their abilities that are coming to Marvel Rivals in the future, because today there was a brand new patch for Marvel Rivals which updated the game ready for the brand new Spring Festival. And once again in this patch there are even more heroes and their ability names. So let's jump straight into it, starting with Gambit. Finally, Gambit has been found in the game files, and we actually know a decent amount about him as for now. He's going to be a duelist, which I think makes the most sense. I think it would have been cool seeing him as a strategist, but there's a lot of other strategists and vanguards coming to the game anyway, so I think we can make room in the duelist category for Gambit. And yes, Gambit's abilities have also been leaked, a good amount of them anyway, and we can see the names of some of these. So his main primary fire seems to be the kinetic deck, because an ability called kinetic deck just makes the most sense. It's obvious he's going to use his cards as his primary fire, you know, just being able to throw them out and probably explode them either on impact or on will, but I think it'll be on impact. We also have energy storage. Now, I feel like this could also be a kind of passive, and he sort of charges up energy in some way. Maybe it's a little bit like Doctor Strange, how hitting certain targets will give you more energy, and then maybe you can explode once you reach a certain amount of energy, and that will explode all the cards that you've already hit people with. That could be pretty sick, but energy storage is probably some kind of passive. Then we have nodal tile array, projection, and nodal deck recycling. Honestly, your guess is as good as mine with this one. I'm not too sure what these mean, but those are the ability names that are in the files at the moment. Now, what this means is they have some rough idea of how they're going to go with Gambit, but we've not seen the full extent of it. It's likely in the dev build of the game there is more going on. They're probably testing out so many heroes as we've got so many leaked already. But I know after covering a lot of the recent leaks, Gambit was one that a lot of people wanted and we had no sign of until now. But him being a duelist I think is a perfect fit and I look forward to it. But the next hero that was also leaked was Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler apparently is also going to be a duelist. Now, in my opinion, I think Nightcrawler could have made for a cool strategist, being able to teleport his teammates out of battle. But then again, that might have been annoying because let's say a Nightcrawler grabbed you and teleported you away and you didn't ask for it. I guess there could be some kind of annoyance there. So making him a duelist, being able to capture enemies, actually sounds pretty awesome. And that's how I think he's going to play out. I think he's going to be able to obviously teleport around as he does, but also capturing enemies seems like it should be part of his ability set. Literally going up to an enemy, grabbing them, and then teleporting a certain distance would just be, well, it would be awesome. Just like how Wolverine captures tanks, maybe he could capture the supports. And Nightcrawler's ability names that are currently in the files are as follows. First, we have Ape. Now, I did some Googling. This is actually a sort of fencing style sword, and that makes sense. So it looks like he will still have a sword, so he's probably going to be a melee character unless this is an ability. But I assume this is probably his primary fire and his main way of attacking by using this sword. He also has a phase shift ability, which makes complete sense. That's how he teleports. So I believe the way he'll teleport is he'll kind of go invincible and then be able to run a certain distance or something and then appear. Maybe a bit like how placing a Doctor Strange portal, maybe you can just fully travel super fast, or maybe it's just like going invisible as Psylocke and then you come out the other end, but you're invincible while doing so or something like that. And we also have foil. I'm not sure what foil could be, but it looks like a way of tricking the enemies, I suppose. So yeah, Nightcrawler as a duelist, I'm super excited for this one. Another name that was much requested and people are going to have a lot of fun. I think he's going to be an annoying character if he can grab and steal enemies. I mean, these ability names don't necessarily suggest it, but I mean, he's literally known for doing this. So I hope he can. But it might just be too annoying for the game, so they might not add it. Now, next up, we have Beast. Beast is another leaked hero with an unknown category. Now, I think he's going to be a vanguard or a strategist. I don't think he'll be a duelist. I mean, he's super intelligent. He can definitely put that to good use as a strategist. But again, of course, he is Beast, so there's a chance he is a vanguard. But his abilities are called Dexterous, Now, this might just be his primary fire, where he uses his fists. I mean, that would make the most sense. He would probably be maybe kind of melee-based. And now, to think about it, I think it makes the most sense that he is a support. He does have 2 more abilities, Field Experiment and Intelligence Analysis, which is interesting to say the least. I'm not sure if these will be supportive abilities, like Field Experiment. What on earth could that be? I'm not too sure. Now, my take on Beast would probably be to have him as a support, healing his teammates and amplifying their abilities, maybe reducing their cooldowns or something. That could be quite cool. But Field Experiment and Intelligence Analysis doesn't sound like abilities, if I'm honest with you. Like, what are you going to do? Analyze someone's intelligence and tell them that they've got low IQ and win the game? Maybe he'll just be the best trash talker that Marvel Rivals has to offer. But Beast, I'm excited for him. Not sure what the timeline's looking like now. We've got so many leaked heroes, but we have even more. Next up, we have Jubilee. Now, Jubilee is an unknown category of hero as well. She might just make for a duelist. I think her powers are going to look really awesome, especially since they kind of take the form of firework explosions. So when she's dealing damage, just having fireworks dazzling your enemies and popping up on the screen might just look absolutely beautiful. But let's talk about Jubilee's abilities. First of all, we have firework radiation. Makes a lot of sense. Maybe it's, you know, a big sort of firework explosion that is just another kind of bubble ability that deals damage over time. I'm not too sure. We have the Atom Bomb and the Atomic Blast. Now, these might be part of the same ability, but the Atom Bomb, I think, will be a giant amount of energy that she creates. A little bit like in X-Men 97, you can see she creates this giant ball of energy that does kind of resemble an atom itself, obviously with the cool firework effect, and it just creates a giant explosion. It kind of stuns the enemy in place. Obviously, with it being depicted as these fireworks, it would make sense that these are quite stun-like abilities in Marvel Rivals. You can just imagine it, can't you? Being stuck in her explosion, and there's just fireworks going off everywhere, and you can't move. A little bit like when you get stuck in Wanda's Orb, where you're just stuck. It feels like her abilities will be like this, and they will honestly look sick. I mean, just from seeing her in the animated series, it's such a cool art style surrounding her abilities, and I think Marvel Rivals will absolutely nail this one. So that's Jubilee, and honestly, from those abilities, a duelist does make a lot of sense. I've got to be honest, her abilities are very attacking focused. But next up, we have Rogue. Rogue is going to be a strategist, and she is another character that a lot of people were really hoping for. And obviously, Rogue is a very interesting character because her main power is she can absorb other people's abilities. So just how Loki's ultimate literally lets you take someone else's ultimate, Rogue will probably be this on a completely other level, taking all abilities of other heroes. And that seems like it's going to be the case because the 2 leaked abilities that were in the game files for her were, first of all, capacity building. So it seems like this will be a passive where maybe she charges up her ability to steal other people's abilities or something like that. Maybe the amount of abilities you can store. And then the other ability is called Ability to Draw Skill 1, 2, and 3. So if I had to guess, this means she can steal other heroes' abilities up to 3 abilities. Maybe this means she can steal unique specific abilities, or it means she could steal 3 different heroes' abilities at the same time and switch between them, or maybe she can only steal 1 hero's abilities at a time. A little bit like Loki's ultimate, like I said, but that is her passive. It's kind of her only ability where she's able to just play as anyone. Now, being a strategist, that would make a lot of sense since it gives you full range to choose which abilities you want to play and strategically play them. But what does that mean for her healing capabilities? Will she have a base set of healing with her primary fire? I mean, if she's a strategist, she kind of has to, right? She has to have some kind of support. So it'll be interesting how they implement this with a character like Rogue. But yeah, I think Rogue coming to the game is going to be super unique. I mean, just from this alone, the ideas are kind of crazy to how she could work, like stealing people's abilities. And how will that work? Will it stack? Can you steal multiple abilities? Do you just copy another hero and just play them for a bit and then switch to someone else? I mean, the possibilities are definitely endless with that one. So that's 5 new heroes so far, but it doesn't stop there because in the new update, we also got more leaks for other leaked heroes that you may have missed that we've talked about in previous videos, and that shows their abilities. So we have even more abilities for those other heroes. Let's start with Colossus. So Colossus was a leaked Vanguard, obviously, the man who's made of steel, and his abilities are called Giant Punch and Steel Colossus. I think there's a few translations of these abilities. We also have Tremendous Strength. So yeah, I think Colossus is the most self-explanatory. It seems like he's just going to be an absolute melee tank. And Steel Colossus just sounds like it would be a passive, maybe that absorbs damage. Maybe he takes reduced damage to certain abilities or projectiles. Would make a lot of sense, turning him into an absolute tank. The Giant Punch, well, it just sounds like either his primary fire is, a giant devastating punch, or maybe his secondary fire of some sort, where it's a charged up punch. And Tremendous Strength, well, that sounds like it could be a damage boost ability for a short period of time, or something like that. Overall, it's no surprise that Colossus has these kind of ability names. We could kind of already guess how he'd play. Next up, though, we have Professor X. Now, Professor X was going to be a strategist, and his abilities at the moment are called X-Men Collection, Potential Stimulation, and Mind Projection. So X-Men Collection sounds like it might just be a team up with all other X-Men, or maybe that's just what he calls his team at that point in time. It doesn't necessarily have to be X-Men characters. So it could either be a team up where he genuinely just teams up with every X-Men. I think that would be an awesome kind of team up. I think it would make a lot of sense when he comes to the game, giving some kind of buff to all X-Men that you're playing with. A little bit like when the Fantastic Four all come to the game. I'm pretty sure they all have a team up with the Invisible Woman that gives them the ability to shield. So that's 3 heroes partnering with just one other hero. So it makes sense that all the X-Men have a team up with Professor X. So I like the idea of that. Potential Stimulation, I don't know. Maybe it's just his primary fire. I'm not sure. And Mind Projection, again, I have no idea. Professor X is another one of those heroes where his abilities could be absolutely crazy or they could be pretty mid. Next up, we have Locus. Now, I didn't really know that much about Locus. I remember she was leaked and I'm pretty sure she can teleport and stuff, but her abilities are called Unstable Structure, Stable Structure, and Energy Lock. So, yeah, this one I don't have a clue about. Energy Lock? Yeah, honestly, I'm not even going to guess with those. I'll just give you the names. Next up, we had Pace Pop Pete. Now, I think we got this guy's ability spot on when we predicted them. So first up, he has the Glue Lasso. Now, this will be his movement ability that will allow him to basically just stick to a surface and swing towards it. It'll probably just pull him directly towards it rather than kind of a swing. Then we also have the Sticky Bomb. Now, you probably guessed it. It's going to be some kind of bomb that will stick people, stunning them, sticking them to a surface, maybe making it harder for them to move. And then we have Watch Your Step. Now, this ability sounds like it could be an ultimate. Imagine the ultimate, he just sprays the glue everywhere and, it probably damages you and it's hard to move. That does kind of sound like the Black Widow ult, but maybe it's going to be the same kind of thing. I think Pace Pop P is going to be an interesting character. A lot of people aren't happy that he was leaked because he's so old and rogue and no one really knows him, but I think it would look pretty cool in Marvel Rivals. But I honestly think anything in Marvel Rivals will be a lot of fun. And then finally, we had Jia Jing, the Sprite. Now, her abilities are Fairy Wings and Spiritual Healing. So she is going to be a strategist. Fairy Wings means she will be able to fly, and Spiritual Healing is clearly a healing ability. Whether it's a one-time use, a little like an Adam Warlock healing, maybe it's gradual healing. We don't know what kind of healing it will be, but that's the ability name. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of leaks today. 5 new heroes, abilities for them all, abilities for other heroes that were already leaked. Every update seems to be throwing so many heroes into Marvel Rivals, which is kind of crazy. Because when you think about it, if they're only releasing 2 heroes per season in the future, it's going to take a while before we get these heroes, but that might not be the case. 2 heroes per season might be the minimum. We might end up getting seasons, like a mutant themed season, where we get 4 heroes or more. So it's definitely exciting times, and I'm interested to see which heroes they choose to come next. But I'll see you guys in the next one, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And that's it from me. Goodbye.